Hey guys, Frank here, your virtual general aviation aviator. And today I am back in the PC Porter. It's getting late, and my plan is to try and get down to Dry Bay um, before it gets too dark. Now it's cloudy. I'm VFR, which means that I've got to fly low. And I want to fly the faster route, which would be over the mountains and come down over over the terrain like this. However, if it gets too late and just talking about it, I'm losing time. If it gets too late, then I am going to have to fly and come out over the coastline and come up to Dry Bay. The reason that I want to do the mountains is because it's scenic. Will make a much more interesting flight. So let's jump in the cockpit. I've already got the plane started, and we are actually ready for takeoff. Turn those standing lights on. Check them. Okay. Strobe lights are on. Nav lights are on. Transponder set to altitude report. VFR trim is set and flaps are in. Let's move to high idle. Torque is coming up. All right. Next brakes, and we are ready to go. Now it is a little windy. Set torque to takeoff power. $60. Rotate. We're up. So I do know that this route is going to take me back over the lake. As you can see, I've got rain. Didn't know it was raining. And my plan is to kind of hug the mountains. Do know I want to go south. And for this flight 15, actually, guys, unless I get out of the rain, well, 1500 is probably as high as I want to go. But I may need to turn west and go towards the coast. But as long as I can see the mountains, then I can continue on this track. As you can hear by the sound of by the noises, it's really windy out here. deal of turbulence. All right. So we're at 1500. That's our cruise. And cruise checklist. And the lights off. And let's pull it back and set our prop to about 1900. Set our torque. Let's get our torque well out of the well below 40. Check out other gauges. Cruising at around 100 knots. That's we're obviously fighting the headwind because we okay. Let's get rid of these flaps. That's the biggest reason that we were probably not picking up any real speed. Okay, so we cruising at a ground speed of 100, 101. Let's get it trimmed, release that back pressure. This is probably not some flight that you want to do in real life, VFR. Actually, not at all. VFR, IFR. Unless you are really, really familiar with these mountains. GPS is extremely useful in this flight. But we don't want to rely fully on GPS. Now I said my cruising altitude is going to be 1500, and right now I'm 500 above, 600 above my cruising altitude. The aircraft is trimmed very nicely, so I am going to leave it where it's at. Looks like I'm descending at about 50 to 100 feet per minute. Well, not even 100 feet per minute, maybe 25 to 50 feet per minute. And I'm just going to leave it there because I'm just going to fly the block altitude of 2,000 to 150, 2,000 to 1,500. Not a whole lot to look at in this kind of weather. I can tell you off to my left is Chamberlain Glacier. it's not really visible. I am here. Chamberlain is here. Of course, what we're looking at now is a meltwater lake, and I believe the glacier starts here, and all this up here is glacier land. And it is so turbulent that I am going to back off of my speed just a little bit. I'm going to make sure I keep her down into the green. Don't have cylinder head temperatures or manifold pressures to worry about. This is a turbo engine. It's basically a small jet engine with a propeller on the front of it. And the propeller and the jet shaft is not torqued for speed as it is power, which gives this little guy tremendous lifting ability. Now, as I get closer to my destination, there are a couple of airports that I will fly over. They may or may not be recognizable from the cockpit. Recognizable in the word that I want. They may or may not be identifiable. May not even see them, depending on the visibility, which means that landing, I'm sure, is really going to be a challenge. Like I lost quite a bit of altitude when I was flying from the drone position. So untrimmed, looks like I'm losing about 600 feet a minute. But as long as I fly in that block. Go ahead and give us a little bit of light. See, it is getting dark, and I can see an airport below us. And to be honest with you, I am not sure if that's our airport or not. Could very well be our airport. There should be a couple airports in that vicinity. But because, let's see, the airport that we want is doesn't have any lights, or does it? I think it does. I think this is our airport beacon here, or our airport light, something that we can use to get into this airport. But quite frankly, it is too dangerous to try to land in this weather. Well, there are old pilots, there are bold pilots, but there are no old bold pilots. I tell you what we'll do. We use this guy, which is Alaskan River Airport, as our alternative, and Dry Bay, which is this airport here, is our destination. And if Alaskan that look like it's going to work out well, then if Dry Bay, which is the airport in front of us, that looks like it's going to work out well, then we'll divert it to Alaskan, which may be a little bit easier to land at. All right, so let's bleed off some altitude and speed. Come in over this river, try to get a look at what the field might be. Let's get our landing lights on, and you can see how that highlights the rain. We should be roughly about 500 over the ground. It is possible what we thought was that, okay, so our airport is being marked by a campfire, and all right, so see our airport from here. All right. Climb and turn here, and I'm planning to line back up and come in by that light. I didn't really get a sense of which way the winds were blowing, which means that I am going to have to go make another pass, because I really need to know which way my winds are blowing. I am just not going to get an ASOS, AWOS, ATIS in this neck of the woods. It's like we're out of the rain. The rain has broken. Another little pass here. Foot a minute descent. Looking for that for windsock. And actually, it's a good thing we did do that pass, because doesn't look like that was our runway at all. if we don't think we can make this, we still got our alternative runway that we can use. So let's do a sharp turn here and line up and do it. Hopefully we can get over the runway this time. Let's come out of that turn. And I can hardly see the runway. Like it's raining off and on. And the winds can be atrocious. One more pass again to see if we can't figure out where our winds are coming from and kind of go east a little bit so I can hopefully get lined up. But if I go too far out, then I won't be able to see the runway at all. Okay, I can see the runway just barely, but I can see it. And let's try to make this pass a little bit slower by throwing in some flaps. We're over trees. And runway is in sight. Look for that windsock. Not seeing a windsock, guys. Sometimes I wonder if, you know what? I know there are some airports that just don't have a windsock. And because I want to be an old pilot rather than a bold pilot, I think I am just gonna divert to the Alaskan River airport. It's got lights at both ends, so that shows me the orientation of the runway, makes it doable. So that's the campsite that I'm at, Dry Fish Bay. I'm sorry, Dry Bay, not Dry Fish Bay. Let's get this bad boy up to a safe altitude. Okay, so this is the Aslek River. We can see that light, and I'm looking for two lights. I only see one light. I need the second light. Okay, so I'm not seeing the second light. I do see a light, but it could very well be a campsite. Let's see what we have there. And that looks like the homes at the other end of the runway. So I am flying due west. So it looks like if I come in from the east, I may be able to settle down. Bear in mind, I am losing light. I got a twilight sky that's providing sunlight. Try flying over the airport. Okay, I think I see both sets of lights. All right. Flying way too fast for this air. Okay, I see the windsock. I see its direction. Like I am going to have a 20 to 25 knot crosswind. And let's see if we get another glimpse at the windsock. No windsock there, but I do see that I am getting a really good crosswind. All right. Turned around. Oh, I just lost the engine. No good. Good. No good. All right. Best bet is to put it down in the water. Find the water. Cut the engines, and we're going down, guys, so I have to make a water landing, and I want to do it on the edge of the water. All right, so I want to bleed off as much speed as I can and land with. The gear is going to cause me to nose over, so I want to tighten my belt, open my door. Okay, undo my belt here, and I'm in the water. There's my flip, which I fully expected. I did undo my seat belt, and at first I tightened it, but then I thought about it. I need to undo it, and I did crack my door. I guess this view models the engine altitude. Maybe it doesn't. I am not sure. Okay, there's my engine. What I did is I over-torqued it, and the shaft that spans the that spins the propeller will not handle the pressure, so it breaks. All right, so here I'm thinking, can I make the runway? Can I make the runway? But then when I look at my altitude and speed, I realize that I can't. I got, see how I'm bleeding off altitude? So now I am just looking for a place to ditch. I know it's the chance of survival is much greater ditching in the water than slamming into all these trees. Of course, in the X-plane, I could land and go through the trees, but all right, there's my ditch. The question is whether I can make it to the side before this glacier runoff water causes me to go into hyperthermia. So with any luck, I can make that swim and get to safety. And the porter is lost. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you now know why there are no old bowed pallets. Even though I did try to divert to what I thought might have been the safer airport in this kind of flying in this kind of weather, with my experience level was a no win situation.